Good afternoon and welcome to all. So today in this session we are going to discuss about the morphology of bacteria. So in the last session we have discussed about the scope as well as the historical perspectives of microbiology. Today onwards we can discuss what are the morphological components which are contained within the bacteria. So these microorganisms are a heterogeneous group of several distinct classes of living beings, actually these microorganisms, and based on the difference in the cellular organization and biochemistry, the kingdom Protista has been divided into mainly two groups, namely prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. These bacteria and blue-green algae are prokaryotes, while fungi, algae, slime molds, and protozoa are eukaryotes. These bacteria are prokaryotic microorganisms that do not contain chlorophyll, which are present in eukaryotes. Chlorophyll are present in eukaryotes. Which bacteria are unicellular and they do not show true branching except in the higher bacteria like actinomycetales. So coming to the definition, the bacteria are the microscopic unicellular organisms and they are true living organisms that belong to the kingdom prokaryotes, which I had earlier mentioned. They are a large group of unicellular microorganisms and they are extremely tiny, so they cannot be seen individually unless viewed through microscopes. So we can't observe this bacteria through our naked eye. And when they are cultured on the agar, the bacteria grow as colonies, which contain many individual cells of same type. That I think you are familiar with these things. All bacteria, both pathogenic as well as saprophytic. What do you mean by pathogenic? Which cause infection are called pathogenic microorganisms. Saprophyte means which depend upon other things and they decompose, which are mainly important in the decomposition. They are called saprophytes. So both pathogenic as well as saprophytic microorganisms are unicellular organisms and that reproduce by binary fission. So the most common mode of reproduction is binary fission. Most bacteria are capable of independent metabolic existence and growth. But there are certain species of bacteria such as Chlamydia and Rickettsia. They can't depend upon they can't exist independently. They always depend upon other things. So they are also called obligately intracellular organisms. And those bacteria, they possess both deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. And this bacteria occur in water, soil, air, food and all natural environment. And they are capable of surviving extremes of temperature, pH, oxygen and atmospheric pressure. This is the structure of a bacterial cell. In this view we can see the bacteria which possess what? It doesn't possess nucleus. Instead of nucleus, it consists of a nucleoid as well as in which the DNA is coiled. It is seen as coiled within the nucleoid. And it also consists of ribosomes which are in the form of granules, and also these are all present in cytoplasm. And it also outer wall of this bacteria which possess what? Cell wall, capsule, etc. And inside it consists of cytoplasmic inclusions, mesosomes, etc. But no Golgi apparatus as well as chlorophyll which are present in eukaryotes. And also it also possesses plasma membrane which is inward to the cell. Then it also possesses flagellum also. So this is the typical structure of a bacterial cell. So while in the examination you should draw the diagram and label the parts. The prokaryotes have a nucleoid which is also known as nuclear body rather than an enveloped nucleus. So it doesn't possess an enveloped nucleus and it lacks membrane bound cytoplasmic organelles which are called Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, etc. These are cytoplasmic organelles which are membrane bound. So those are absent in prokaryotes but present in eukaryotes. The plasma membrane in prokaryotes perform many of functions that we will discuss later, which are carried out by a membranous organelles in eukaryotes. So the membranous organelles in eukaryotes which perform certain activities which are performed in the plasma membrane of the prokaryotes. So those activities are performed in eukaryotes by the membranous organelles. And their multiplication is by binary fission that I had already mentioned earlier. Next is about surface structure. So the different surface structures are, I am explaining it in briefly, not in detail. We can discuss in the later sessions. Okay. So here surface structures, first one I am mentioning is about flagella. This flagella of motile bacteria differ in the structure from eukaryotic flagella. So this flagella is quite different in prokaryotes as well as in the eukaryotes. It possesses a basal body and it is anchored within the plasma membrane and a cell wall which give rise to a cylindrical protein filament. Cell wall give rise to this protein filament. The flagellum moves by whirling about its long axis, and the number and arrangement of the flagella on the cell which are diagnostically useful. That is, it helps in the identification of which organism is present because certain organisms have flagella differently. For example, in the case of Salmonella, it possesses flagella all over its body, etc. Then another organism called Klebsiella, it doesn't possess flagella. So due to the presence and arrangement of this flagella, we can easily diagnose different types of bacteria. Next is about pili or fimbriae. Pili are slender, hair-like proteinaceous appendages on the surface of many bacteria, especially gram-negative bacteria. They are important in addition to host surfaces. Then another structure is capsules. Some bacteria form a thick outer capsule of high molecular weight, and also the composition is mainly viscous. It has a viscous mode and it is a viscous in polysaccharide gel, and others have more amorphous lime layers. And this capsule which may provide protection to the bacteria by conferring resistance to phagocytosis. So they show resistance to the phagocytosis which are present in our body. When this capsulated bacteria enter our body, they can resist the immune mechanisms of our body such as phagocytosis. So this is about capsules. Then next is about cell wall. Cell wall peptidoglycan. Both gram-positive as well as gram-negative bacteria. These are the two different types of bacteria based on the staining reactions. They can be divided into both gram-positive as well as gram-negative. And that gram-positive and this gram-staining reaction we can study later. And this gram-positive as well as gram-negative bacteria possess a cell wall peptidoglycans which confer a characteristic cell shape and provide the cell with mechanical protection. And about this peptidoglycan, it is a unique to prokaryotic organism which are absent in eukaryotes, and it consists of a glycan backbone which consists of a muramic acid and glucosamine. Both are N-acetylated, and peptide chains which are highly cross-linked with bridges in gram-negative bacteria. An example for gram-negative bacteria is Staphylococcus aureus, or partially it is cross-linked in gram-negative. So it is partially cross-linked in gram-negative and highly cross-linked with bridges in gram-positive bacteria. An example for gram-negative bacteria is Escherichia coli or E. coli. The cross-linking transpeptidase enzymes are some of the targets for beta-lactam antibiotics. So certain antibiotics we are using to kill those bacteria. So main target sites of this beta-lactam antibiotics are the cross-linking transpeptidase enzyme of the bacteria, which are present in the cell wall peptidoglycans. Next is about cytoplasmic structures. First one is about plasma membrane. The bacterial plasma membrane is composed primarily of protein and phospholipid, and it is in the ratio of about 3:1. It performs many functions. What are the functions? Including transport, biosynthesis, and energy transduction. Next important cytoplasmic structures are organelles. Example, ribosomes. The bacterial cytoplasm is densely packed with ribosomes, which are 70S ribosomes, and those are 80S ribosomes in eukaryotes. Other granules represent metabolic reserves. Example, polybeta hydroxybutyrate, polysaccharide, polymetaphosphate, and metachromatic granules. These are the examples of other granules which represent metabolic reserves. Next coming is endospores. Example for the endospore producing bacteria are Bacillus and Clostridium species, which can produce endospores, and the peculiar characteristic of the endospores are they are heat resistant, in which they are dehydrated resting cells that are formed intracellularly and contain a genome and all essential metabolic machinery. So they are formed intracellularly. The endospore is encased in a complex protective spore coat. So coming to the morphology of the bacteria, mainly this typical bacterial cell can be divided into based on the size, shape, and arrangement. So first of all, we can discuss about the size of the bacteria. So what is the unit of measurement used in bacteriology? The unit of measurement used in the bacteriology is micron or micrometer. Here, the bacterial cells are extremely small. Most of them are measured in microns, which is also known as micrometer or 10⁻⁻⁶ meter. They range in size from large cells. So, the size ranges in different bacteria. For example, Bacillus anthracis. The size of this Bacillus anthracis is 1 to 1.3 micrometer into 3 to 10 micrometer to very small cells. So the Bacillus anthracis are large cells. Now the example for the very small cells such as Pasteurella tularensis. The size